Well, we prepared for Washington and trying to get ready for their speed and athleticism. They're a very lethal team with great athletes, a team that can defend and cover a lot of ground. They can make mistakes and get back into play defensively. Offensively, they're one of the best corner three-point shooting team in the league. They're shooting like 88% effective field goal percentage from the corners. And so that's something we got to have a focus on going into the game.
You mentioned it there. How important is it to get back in transition and stop their first and fast break?
It's humanly impossible to stop Wall in a one-on-one situation coast to coast. I mean, I timed it against Cleveland the other night against Kyrie Irving. He went from one end to the other in like 3 seconds or a little bit less. I mean, it's unbelievable how fast he can go with the ball from coast to coast. So our focus has got to be back. Not only the guy guarding him, but we got to have his teammates back too, looking at him, building a wall, and make sure we protect our paint. And then the second part of that is once we do get back, we got to locate the corner threes because they're one of the best in the league at coming down and finding the corner three in transition and pulling it quickly and making it. So they have all of it covered.
Your team's on top of the Atlantic Division right now. I know it's still pretty early in the season, but I guess it's still better than being at the bottom.
No question. I mean, that's what we're building this program for, is to get there to where it's sustainable, consistent basis, not only in top of the division, but top of the conference. That's our goal. That's what we're building this program for. And we're working to get there. So, yeah, anytime you can be there early, even though it's only 12 games into the season, you don't put a lot of stock in it, but big picture, it's a good first step.
And can you just talk about DeMar DeRozan just this year? He just seems like every time he goes on the court, he's just more focused. He just knows how to score.
Well, we're developing. I mean, when I first got it 3 years ago, DeMar was a pup. I mean, he had been like the second or third option behind those guys and growing into that role of being a primary scorer. Now we have two guys that are primary scorers, and he and Rudy, and both of them are developing into that role. In Memphis, Rudy was not the primary scorer, and here he is. DeMar was not the primary scorer for a long time. Now he is. So they're growing in that role of being the primary guy, the go-to guy, and DeMar and both of them are handling it well. Still have some growing pains as far as moving the ball, reading. When teams take away your first option, what do you do? So we're still learning from that standpoint, from an offensive standpoint.
Do you think it helps both of them, I guess, that they know that even though they are now the primary scorers, they don't have to carry the team on their own. They can rely on each other.
They have to. We not only each other. You have three other guys out there with them, and you got Jonas who's growing. We're trying to develop him into our number one low post threat. So they have other people that can help them. And then again, they've got to let the game come to them. The game will dictate what play to make. And that's what we're trying to get, is that balance between 1 through 5, not only just two guys. And I thought we had a good step toward that against Philadelphia, 24 assists. When that ball's moving, it's hard to load and lock into one or two guys.
Now, you mentioned ball movement. So is your team where you want it to be right now?
No, not at all. We have been in one game, but we got to get that consistently. So we haven't. And I'm watching the NBA, and a lot of teams are in the same boat, doing the same thing, trying to find that identity offensively, and we're doing the same thing, trying to find it. I like what we started against Philadelphia. We got to continue that, especially against an athletic and a defensive-minded team like Washington.
What do you think of the new Wizards front court?
New Wizards front court with Beal and Wall, they're growing.
I meant the front court, like Gortat.
Okay. With the back court is where their first thrust is. And with Gortat is one of the best guys at rolling to the basket. And Nene is playing with a tremendous amount of confidence right now. So we've got to be aware of him. He's taken up where Okafor had left off last year, and Serapin, those guys, they have a slew of big guys in there that can get it done. But Nene is the top of that list right now, scoring-wise. But Gortat is crafty. He is a veteran that knows how to play, pass, cut, get to the open spots offensively. So he gives them another threat inside.
They're down a few guys, a few injuries there at last in bench scoring. Is there a way to exploit, I guess, the strong starting five they have, but
Right.
the weaker second unit?
I don't couldn't say, those guys, I don't know if we can go in and say we're going to explode. We got to do what we do. We got to get our game going offensively first and then defensively. I'm more concerned about their first unit. We got to first stop their first unit first and then worry about their bench. So that's our main goal right now is not really try to exploit their bench. We've got to get Wall under control and Nene under control and Beal, who's playing at a very, very high level. I mean, he's one of the, we just saw Portland come in here and torch us from the three. He and Webster can do the same thing. And so we got to have our antennas up with those guys. When they come out of the locker room, we got to be ready to close out and get them off the three-point line.